The U.S. left Afghanistan in August, but launched a new economic attack on the Afghan people. After the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan, we imposed crushing sanctions so the Afghan government can't access $9 billion of their own money. The U.S. has also frozen over $1 billion in humanitarian assistance from the World Bank.
8.7 million are nearing famine. 1 million children face acute, severe malnutrition and could starve and die this winter, far more than died in 20 years of war.
The sanctions are supposedly designed to harm the Taliban, but have been inflicted on the Afghan people, who face food shortages, fuel price spikes, and an unraveling of society. Congress has the power to lift these sanctions. Congress could do a lot in terms of pushing the Biden administration and freeing up this money that could go directly to the Afghan people. Senator, can I ask you about Afghan sanctions really quickly?
I have to go.
Okay, maybe when you come back.
I'm going to be late for my vote.
Thank you.
Apologize.
Senator Menendez?
No, I have a television interview.
Senator,
Hey.
what's the point of these sanctions? We've frozen $9 billion. These sanctions seem to hurt the Afghan people, not the Taliban. Senator Duckworth, can I ask you about the Afghan sanctions? Do you think Congress should be doing more to lift those sanctions, to deliver aid to the Afghan people?
Well, I think we need to get aid to the Afghan people, but I also think it's a responsibility of the Taliban government to comply with what needs to be done in order to lift the sanctions.
What needs to be done by the Taliban to lift those sanctions?
They have a lot of work to do.
But is this collective punishment? I mean, these sanctions are supposedly designed to harm the Taliban, but they're harming the Afghan people. The war is over. What's the point of these sanctions?
Well, the point is that we got a government that we don't have much of a relationship with. We think they'll do more harm to the people of Afghan than anybody else could. Okay.
But they're harming the regular women and children in Afghanistan with these sanctions, not the Taliban. Senator, do you have a quick second about Afghan sanctions? The war is over. What's the point of these sanctions?
Sanctions are, if they're having misintended purposes, of course that's not good, but thanks for bringing it up and I'll look into it, okay?
Thank you, Senator. Have a good day. Senator Kennedy, I want to ask you about Afghan sanctions. There are 3.5 million Afghans who are at the risk of starvation because of sanctions imposed by the U.S. government.
I don't have anything for you on that right now. I've got to go vote, okay?
Should Congress be taking action on this? There could be many deaths borne by these sanctions. Why is the U.S. government doing this, and why isn't Congress doing something about this?
Who's Congress controlled by?
The Democrats.
Yeah, the president's party. I mean, you should ask them these questions.
But you could force an amendment.
I know we can't. I mean, we just had this discussion. We can't force anything on the floor. The Democrats are in total control. They have no interest in Afghanistan. I'd love to have more hearings on Afghanistan. They absolutely will not do it. I'd love to have a debate.
Would you push for hearings on the sanctions that are happening right now?
I push for hearings up and down on Afghanistan, but they won't do it. So you should ask them.
If Republicans take control of the Senate next year, would you call for an end to these sanctions?
Oh, let's come back and talk. Come and talk to me then.
What's the point of these sanctions? Why isn't Congress doing anything to push back against this Biden administration policy?
The Taliban is not a government that we should be particularly helpful to, and obviously we want to have and have always had policies that are helpful to struggling families all over the world, and I think we can do that in Afghanistan as well.
But the millions that are facing starvation now, should we be doing anything to lift these sanctions?